You could fill a TARDIS with this trivia. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 behind-the-scenes facts from Doctor Who.
It's all waiting out there, Jackie. And it's brand new to me.
Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more great content. For this list, we've gathered the most interesting, most surprising, and most significant on-set stories to emerge from the BBC sci-fi series.
The boy and his box off to see the universe.
Well, you say that as if it's a bad thing, but honestly, it's the best thing there is.
Number 10, costume changes. Establishing a signature look is vital for any incoming Doctor, but some outfits almost never happened at all.
No, I didn't mean your face, I meant your clothes. Don't you like them?
Tom Baker's iconic scarf came about by accident after crossed wires in the wardrobe department led to the ludicrously long garment, while David Tennant's cut suit and Converse look was supposedly inspired by an outfit worn by Jamie Oliver on Parkinson. And while it's impossible to imagine Matt Smith without a bow tie, showrunner Stephen Moffat was dead against the formal flourish at first. Thankfully, they kept it in.
I kept the clothes.
Including the bow tie.
Yeah, it's cool. Bow ties are cool.
Number 9. US involvement. While its roots remain firmly planted in Great Britain, Doctor Who is definitely a global obsession.
What the hell is that?
But the opening and closing episodes of Season 6, The Impossible Astronaut and The Wedding of River Song, were the first filmed on location in America, with previous stateside stories achieved without the cast ever crossing the Atlantic. And if you want to see the stunning vistas at Lake Silencio for real, then head to Lake Powell on the Utah-Arizona border. It's well worth the trip. Number 812 was a superfan.
So, anyone for Dodgems?
Actors can be quick to claim a long association with the fandoms for whichever show or movie they're currently working on, and sometimes almost without utmost sincerity.
This man, I mean, you are beyond a fan.
Oh, God.
But Peter Capaldi really is a lifelong Whovian. Capaldi was well known at the BBC as a kid, thanks to his continuous and persistent letters to Who writers, creators, and fan club officiators.
And Peter decided he should be the head of the fan club.
David Tennant has also said that he got into acting with the sole goal of playing the Doctor, but no one beats the geekiness of 12.
I'm Doctor Who!
Number 7, the reason for regeneration. It's a crucial part of the Doctor's character now, but regeneration wasn't a pre-planned thing.
I don't want to go.
In fact, the switch from William Hartnell's first to Patrick Troughton's second Doctor was largely prompted by Hartnell's poor health. The actor suffered with a series of illnesses, while relations with the Who production team are also said to have soured. Regeneration was devised as a way to continue the show with multiple actors, with early descriptions of the filmic phenomenon likening it to a psychedelic trip on LSD.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
Number 6, the greatest guest writers. While the likes of Moffat, Russell T Davies, Robert Holmes, and Terry Nation boast the majority of the writing credits, Who has its fair share of famous contributors. The most satisfying link for sci-fi buffs is probably that of Douglas Adams, who was involved with multiple scripts in the 70s.
You can't be serious. Is he?
The Hitchhiker's Guide author has just one official credit to his name, but he often worked under the BBC pseudonym David Agnew. Comedian Mark Gatiss has written regularly since the 2005 revival, while Neil Gaiman and Richard Curtis also penned some standout stories.
Thank you, sir. Very helpful indeed.
Stephen Fry scripted a Series 2 adventure as well, but the episode was never made. Number 5, pinching the pennies. Doctor Who is well known for repurposing sets and costumes to make creating entire galaxies as cost-effective as possible.
Then you pay.
With what?
You're 1,000 years old, you must have something you care about.
But while dodgy props are part of the show's charm, Who has also been criticised for failing to recognise and compensate key figures in its history. So shout out to Delia Derbyshire, who arranged the original theme music but wasn't officially credited until the 50th anniversary special. And then there's Ray Cusick, the designer of the Daleks, who received just £100 and a Blue Peter badge for creating one of the most commercially viable villains on TV.
They are to be exterminated. You understand? Exterminated.
Number 4, building a backstory. In the beginning, Doctor Who was primarily pitched as an educational program.
She's waiting in one of the classrooms. I'm lending her a book on the French Revolution.
What's she gonna do, rewrite it?
From the first Doctor's first episode, where we meet Susan and her school teachers, it matched science and history with as much entertainment as possible, and by the late 60s, the Doctor's mythology was mounting.
Let me get this straight. A thing that looks like a police box standing in a junkyard. It can move anywhere in time and space.
But the term Time Lord wasn't used until the War Games story in 1969, while the first mention of Gallifrey comes from John Pertwee's 1973 adventure, The Time Warrior. From there, the legend grew and grew.
What is your native planet?
Gallifrey. I am a Time Lord.
Number 3, sticking with the screwdriver. It's the quintessential bit of kit for any self-respecting time traveler nowadays, but the sonic screwdriver hasn't always been a staple part of the show.
Have to use this. What's that? It's a sonic screwdriver. Never fails.
Victor Pemberton first wrote the device into the 1968 missing episode Fury from the Deep, before it became a mainstay for Doctors 2 and 4.
Even the sonic screwdriver won't get me out of this one.
But the screwdriver was written out during Peter Davison's reign and didn't return until the revival.
Isn't my day, is it? I feel as though you've just killed an old friend.
The critics argued that the gadget gives the Doctor too much power, but Capaldi just wants to roll with the rockstar shades.
These days I'm all about wearable technology.
No.
Number 2, the Doctors that might have been. It's arguably the biggest role on British TV, but plenty of actors have turned it down or narrowly missed out. Brian Blessed, Richard Griffiths, and Andrew Sachs were all considered during the classic era, while the BBC vetoed proposals for Dawn French and Joanna Lumley to land the lead.
Emma, look! I've got etheric beam locators!
Hugh Grant and Bill Nighy have both declined the gig, while auditions for the 8th Doctor included Rick Mayall, Billy Connolly, Eric Idle, and Rowan Atkinson.
So, Doctor, we meet again?
Yes. How are things?
Even Michael Jackson was rumoured for the role as part of an 80s Paramount movie which never came to pass. Number 1, Ridley Scott's Daleks. We finish with a sliding doors moment in Who history, as a young Ridley Scott was originally tasked with designing the Doctor's greatest enemy, the Daleks.
You are the Doctor! You are the enemy of the Daleks!
But Scott backed out of the job to pursue his career in directing, leaving Ray Cusick to rework the character. While Scott scored a series of blockbuster hits, the Daleks became one of sci-fi's scariest villains, channeling inspiration from the ruthless Nazi regime. However, they almost didn't make it to the 2005 revival amidst a drawn-out copyright dispute. Luckily, the quarrel was quietly exterminated.
Exterminate! Exterminate! Let me out! Exterminate!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for more great content.